Hello and welcome to the Dietitian Against Diets podcast. My name is Rashonda and I'm here to continue to have those conversations as well needed with discussions around our nutrition, our mindset, and our health. As I'm moving into my next guest, I want to introduce you guys to some of my podcast partners. One in particular is a company in St. Louis, actually, by the name of Precision Massage. Precision Massage, as the title names, it is about targeted neuromuscular therapy approach when it comes to finding what causes the pain in your body, what's causing the backache, what's causing the tightness in your shoulders. A lot of times it may not be particularly at those local locations, but it could be some other area that's exacerbating that pain. So the owner and of the company is her name is Beth Maddox. She has a license as a physical therapist. She's also licensed as a massage therapist and has taken it a step further to get her certification in neuromuscular therapy. So her company is situated around relieving the pain, making sure that you not only relieve the pain, but make sure that it doesn't come back, and giving you practical tools to do that. So this is great for you guys who have used physical therapy, have ran out as far as your insurance. You need to fill in that gap to allow your body to continue to heal and not miss a beat. This is also for those patients that are out there that need this type of work and don't have the money to go to more of a doctor's ordered place. So find more about their website, more about their location, and find their website at precision-massagestl.com. And right now, she has still have openings for clients, more medical related. But if you're not able to get in, I encourage you to get some gift cards, because I guarantee you when we get out of this COVID-19 season, you are going to want a massage that's really going to help to alleviate some of that pain and some of that tightness as you have been experiencing. Precision massage and massage is a necessity and not a luxury. Another company that's a Midwest centered company is sure you've seen in the stores, seen their products. If not, I'm sure you've had some of their products. Prairie Farm. Prairie Farm is a farm-owned organization since 1838. Not only are they providing high-quality dairy products, but they're also making sure that all of their products are highly nutrient dense. And considering these times, Prairie Farms wants to make sure that you are not just providing yourself with those nutrients, but you're also finding a way to give to others. So right now, they are having a campaign right now called Our Caps, Your Cause program. And right now, they're all about considering what's happening. They want to make a difference in the community by supporting, and they want to create a way to help you to support charities of your choice. And through this, when it comes to Prairie Farm, if you're buying any type of milk products, whether it's a gallon or half gallon, grab those caps and go to their website and connect and see what you can do with those caps when it comes to contributing to a cause. Prairie Farm is about learning how to create sustainability, learning how to be creative with your dairy products when it comes to your different options. Go to their website at www.prairiefarm.com. And also, they have another campaign called Stay at Home. So you go to prairiefarm.com//stay at home. You will find recipes, you will find coupons, and you will find videos that allow you to still enjoy your foods and be creative while staying at home. So take a look at their website, see what they're all about, grab some of their coupons, and grab some of their products at Prairie Farms, farmer owned since 1938. Well, welcome again to another episode of the Dietitian Against Diets podcast. I have with me two amazing guests. They are co-founders of a pet store in St. Louis and Edwardsville called Four Muddy Paws. I have with me Jeff Jensen and Matt Brazelton. Not only are they are great pet owners and pet store owners, they're also great friends. They actually have become part of my life a couple of months ago when we took a trip to Africa. So actually how they came to the show is because I learned not just about what they do for a living, but the passion behind them. And I thought it would be not even more appropriate to have them on today. So I'll welcome you gentlemen to the podcast show.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. We're really happy to be here. So.
Yes. And during these times, I do appreciate you making the time, because I know with what you guys have going on with your pet stores, you business has probably been soaring and keeping you guys
Yeah.
busy. So I appreciate it. And so speaking of, now I noticed your pet store has been open since you guys started in 2004, right?
Right.
Okay, so that's over 15 years of being in service. Now I know that it's always fun to say I just woke up one morning and decided to have a pet shop. But typically, that's not how it most likely started. So I'm gonna give the mic to you, Matt. Talk a little bit about yourself. But what I like to definitely know is like who was the one that kind of brought up the big idea to start a pet shop, and kind of how was that embraced?
Well, that would be me. I always am the person with the big ideas and always looking to do something different. So I was actually teaching school at the time, and for the St. Louis City Public Schools. I was in a good school, but the school itself was on the verge of losing its accreditation. We were going through superintendents every year. So I just started looking at something. My dad always owned his own business. I thought it'd be fun to own my own business. Well,
Okay.
during that, we found a dog, and he's the one that kind of sparked me on the concept of the whole idea. So I wanted a place where you could go and do an all-in-one stop and shop. You can wash your dog or get your dog groomed. You can shop for them, have everything there for them, and don't have to go anyplace else. And there was nothing like that in St. Louis at the time because I did my research. I put a business plan together while I was teaching. And then Jeff had a job at May Company at that time, so we knew we had a backup plan. He would just come in part-time with the store. I would work there full-time. And we finally got to a point where like, okay, I'm going to stop teaching and we're going to go ahead and do this. So, and then ever since it's been started off really slow. I mean, I was the only person in the store. I had a teacher I worked with. She came and worked part-time for me. My mom worked in the store part-time. And then it just kept building year after year. So especially after the big turning point for us in small pet stores was when the whole deal with the melamine in the dog food back in
2007.
2007. Yeah, 2007. Recalled all that dog food because of the dogs dying, but we were carrying foods that we knew weren't not made from China. So that really kick-started the business and really moved it forward. It was a big turning point for us.
Well, one thing that I know that also stands out about you guys and what you guys do for your company is that you really focus on not only being a one-stop shop, because that's not only the pet food, but that's the grooming and that's the dog washing and self-dog washing too, right?
Yeah.
You allow that.
Yeah.
But one of the things is that like you're focusing on making sure that it's just not pet food. It has a foundation of being nutritionally dense. You're taking the same concept as we do as humans, and then making sure that the food are top notch, high in nutrients, and pretty much low with processed possible. Now I know, like I say, it took a while for the wheels to turn, but Jeff? At what point did you jump in this? And how did you guys coming together, working together has really kind of driven the business to where it's continuing to expand? Because I mean, 15 years and running, and that's pretty successful.
Yeah. Well, like Matt said, Matt came up with lots of ideas. He was always the idea guy and always coming up with new concepts. And a lot of them are like, yep, okay, let's think about that, but let's try something new, or let's just kind of work on it. And then he came up with this idea, and after we'd found our dog Salem on that camping trip, we were like, wait a minute. I said, this makes sense. And I've had a lifelong passion for pets. I mean, if I had my druthers to do everything over again, I would have been a zookeeper or a veterinarian. So, I mean, animals have been a part of my life from the very, very beginning, and I've always been passionate about that. But just through happenstance, I ended up not in that career. So when this opportunity came up, I said, you know what, this makes sense to me. From a business standpoint, we're fulfilling a need in the marketplace that's not there. We're able to help animals. And then just from the way we kind of lived our lives from a more holistic standpoint, we wanted to take that into account and create a space that was both not only for the physical, but the emotional well-being of our animals too. And that was a sort of taking a more holistic approach to it. And that's sort of how we've built that business. And then, like Matt said, we wanted to be a one-stop shop, but we also wanted to have sort of from a business perspective, a portfolio of different businesses. So there'd be lots of different reasons that someone may want to come in. It may be the self-service wash. It may be for grooming. It may be for nutrition, or it may be for dog treats or a fun new toy or a walking harness or something. But all of those reasons made it just a more dynamic, interesting spot that all of those things play into the life of the dog. But the very, very foundation of what we always wanted to be about was nutrition, because we are what we eat. And when you're only 10, 15, 20 pounds, 50 pounds, what you put in your body means so much more. And so that's really where we came from. And then we've basically taken that same business plan and have just expanded it, or just like gone deeper into each of those categories over the last 15 years. We're really staying true to who we always have been.
Yeah, and that's actually a perfect segue, because I was going to ask you about the expansion part of it. Not just expanding outward, but expanding deeper, into higher quality and taking more time in research and quality care. Now, I know that my first time, seeing some of your accolades, and when you guys have been nominated for the top 20 pet store here in St. Louis. But then I did some research and realized you guys have been getting accolades and awards ever since you guys started, So, I mean, that to me shows me not only that I see just the significance and the separation of what you guys do, but obviously I think the community in St. Louis have recognized this as well. So do you find that not only you carved and filled the void, but you created a new model in how pets should be cared for and the attention that they need? And how has that reflected in your business choices in regards to what products and services you're bringing in?
Well, I think the first thing that we always do is the dogs and cats that we help drive our decision making. If it's right for our dogs and cats, and if it meets our Matt and I have set standards, and high standards, and as we learn more, they get more and more stringent, and the quality standards is the more we learn. And so we've always set that, but the dogs and cats are the ones that really drive that focus. And people are so our pets have become such a big part of our lives that they truly are part of our family. Whether or not they're your children or whether or not they're your constant companions, that's what really drives it. And we just want them to help to thrive rather than just survive.
Wow.
And our customers help us learn as well, because we're basically a learning center that people come in to find out solutions for their pets. So we're there to help them, and they may bring a question to us we may not know. So we'll do the research on it and find out, okay, how can we help this customer? What would be good for them? Are they getting the right amount of protein, or are they getting too much? Things like that. I mean, and we'll do the research ourselves, and we're like, oh my gosh, this is something new for us. And so it's helping us learn as well. That's how we get a little bit deeper into the nutrition part of it.
Right. And it's been exciting in the last, 15 years ago, it was very, very, very hard, particularly in Missouri, in this area in the middle of the country, to be able to get really good, high quality pet products. They just didn't exist. We didn't have the distribution network. The products weren't there. It was really hard. And so we've been able to grow as the industry has grown and as more and more resources have been put into the research. And so now the products that we carry in the store are, in many cases, light years from where we were 15 years ago, because those products didn't exist. And so we're really excited to be able to bring, it just thrills us when we find new products that we can't wait to bring into our store that we know are going to help people. And it's like a kid in a candy store. You're like, and it's just like, I can use this tool to help somebody. And it's not, it's not like I can sell more of it, but it's like I can help a dog or a cat with this product. And that's what thrills me, because by helping that dog or cat, you've just helped that family. And that's the part that we like to be able to give back. So,
Yeah. I mean, I can see just from the passion that my eyes are lighting up because you're saying everything I say as a dietitian, but you're saying it from a pet perspective. You get excited when you learn there are new ways, there's better nutrients, or there's new research that has kind of revealed some of the benefits of certain foods and nutrients that we haven't considered. And when Matt was talking about how you want to be a resource for your customers, and that goes back and forth. As they're asking questions, you dig. So you're providing information that's current and that's truthful. And that means a lot because, you think about it, I'm not trying to compare it to a typical pet store, but when you think of a pet store, you just think of you going there to buy a dog bed or food or, some sort of shampoo with 20 different versions, and there's no
Hmm.
one there to really guide you or give you that personal attention that can help customize what the animal needs and give you some education behind it. So like I appreciate that because that allows you to go, like you're talking about what separates your mission in the way that you do business with your customers and with your animals. It's because you're taking the time to go deeper and really find what's the best products that's out there and present it happily, eagerly
Yeah,
present it
no,
to your customers.
exactly. Right. Because there's a lot of products we have to say no to because, like, it does not fit our business. It doesn't fit our model of nutrition or what we know to be good nutrition for our animals, so we don't bring it in. And conversely, like Matt and I literally have picked out every single product we carry in the store, so I can tell you why we brought this product in and what it
Huh.
can do for you. And not every product is right for every animal. So we need to have a lot of different varieties because just like we're all different as people and our systems are all they generally work the same way, but there's some idiosyncrasies with each of our systems and intolerances and things that can build up. So the same way in pets. So there's not one perfect way for every animal to eat. And so we're there to help them kind of navigate what's best for their particular animal and their stage of life, or any health issues they might be having, et cetera. So,
Yep. And it's not just you two. You have employees, obviously,
oh
right?
gosh, yeah, we
And
have a
so,
wonderful team.
Yeah, we got great employees.
Yeah,
and they're part of the same voice as far as,
Yes,
educating,
they go
making
through.
sure that,
absolutely.
Yeah,
They are a very, very impassioned team, and will go out of their way to help our customers. And you build up in a store like ours, or any store where you do that. You build up relationships with customers, and our whole goal was to become part of their family. And just for us, we have certain stores or people in our lives that become part of our family, and we want to be important to people and credible for people to become part of their family life. Just like in conjunction with their veterinarian care, we want to be there to help them with their animal care. So yeah.
yeah. Okay. And now you guys taking this, considering the different times right now that we're facing. We came back to St. Louis.
yeah.
For
Yeah.
those who don't know, we actually did a trip in Africa, a mission trip with our church, and we came back in the midst of the beginning of the coronavirus pandemic. So Jeff and Matt they were already transitioning a lot of their services or their products online. So I'm assuming that this was kind of good timing, and kind of tell me
Yeah.
how that has gone, creating that new arm within your business.
Right. Matt, you want to talk about that?
Yeah, it's like you said, it was good timing. Um, we feel blessed that we actually put it in before all this happened. We had planned to officially launch the online store after we got back from Africa. We ended up doing it at the tail end of our trip in Africa, letting people know it's there. And then we came back. We were open for about a week to the public, and decided to go ahead and close our doors to the public to keep our staff safe and to keep everybody else safe, and just let people know our online store is up and running. And just working, we're still working through a lot of little kinks, of course, because it's fairly new, and but we're getting through them. And just talking to like one of our developer friends who's been helping us, he's like, "Yeah, I've never seen a store just take off so fast, an online store." I'm like, "But there's a lot of circumstances that
Yeah.
the reason."
These were extraordinary times, but being able to do
Yeah,
curbside, we're learning on the fly.
yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, so we do the curbside pickup, and we do free delivery, free local delivery, in the St. Louis area and Edwardsville area. So, which is, people are really appreciating that we're doing all that for them. So
And then
Yeah.
we
Are
just
you,
actually started a it's small right now, but we're working on, we'd like to grow it, a little pantry for people that we put outside of our store. We have free food that's available for people to pick up if they're unemployed or have some challenges or in some dire straits and need dog or cat food. People have been buying food. It doesn't have to come from us. They can just buy food and then drop it off at the store. And then people walking by or driving by can pick up what they need. And we've been able to help people that way. It's just something that we can do to give back to our community. It's not big right now, but we've gotten some really nice emails back from customers who are like, thank you so much, because you guys have been, and not us, but people who are, just lending a helping hand in these times. That's what it means to be together. And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to be as flexible and mobile as possible and get through these crazy times. So.
Now, for purposes of recognition, do you guys have a name for that campaign for the food donations for animals?
No, it's just we just have we put a table out and a sign that says, take what you need, give what you can, and we're here for you, basically. So it's completely voluntary, and it's there. It's open when we're open. So we're open 10 to 5, Monday through Saturday, and Sundays 11 to 4. And then we just pull it in at nighttime, but otherwise it's there, and people can donate whatever they want, as long as it's unopened food for dogs and cats. So,
is there a way to donate it if you order something online and be able to contribute something?
Okay. Let us know. They can put a comment in the customer's comment on our shop, and then we've had people do that, and they just say, you know what, I just want to buy a couple bags to donate, and then we'll put it out there for people. So there's a way to do that.
Yep. So. And I'm assuming having a virtual platform as far as online, that's at some point, Formerly Paws products will be outside of the St. Louis and Illinois area.
I mean, we have people we've shipped all over the country at this point. Most of our action happens in St. Louis and Illinois at this point. And then, in fact, Wednesday will be we having a new delivery van. Well, we bought a van that we have wrapped that you'll start seeing the Formerly Paws van driving around town doing local deliveries. So it's something we wanted to do about 6 months from now, but you know how all this is like compressed. So here we are. But we're really excited to be able to offer it to more people. So
that's great that you guys have staying innovative in these times and still finding a way to not just serve your customers, but serve the community in a way that the people that are less fortunate. Because I didn't think about, I'm a pet owner, but I didn't think about the pets are going to be compromised as well, as far as not just food, but food quality and accessibility.
Right. That's exactly right. And that's the whole thing. And even we'll talk about it probably later with nutrition, but it's the same thing, starting to, make that connection between all of us organisms.
And it's funny you just said that, because I think you're reading my notes, Jeff.
I've not seen your notes. I've not seen them.
As you're saying that, I want to say there's a fine line between, what human needs are and our animal pet needs when it comes to the foundation of, what's best for their digestive system, what have been introduced into their digestive system that they have no control of or have no knowledge of, and how that plays a role in their immunity, their ability to thrive, which is the same thing for us, So I know that, Jeff, when I was getting more info of your background, understanding your background, I see from both of you guys that just health, physical and health-wise, it's always been a part of your life, So I'm not surprised that having a healthy pet food store is a part of the big plan for both of you guys, Now, Jeff, from your experience, as far as your life, what, outside of this just being a part of who you are growing up, at what moment did you step back and you realize, okay, no, almost the same way that I am, my ability to live at my optimal level with my exercise and what I put in my body, that's exactly what our pets need. I would tell you, growing up as a child, we had pets, but I think out of not having knowledge, dogs got the leftovers, dogs got the scraps, and they did pretty good, you know.
Yeah.
But I think nowadays, you know, we have more knowledge now. We recognize that they should probably get just the highest amount of quality food as we get as humans, you know.
Right.
So for you, Jeff, and I'll let Matt let you come in and piggyback off of that. But what you know, what is it that you feel that people don't recognize the link between our health and our animals' health when it comes to our foods and nutrition?
Um,
Because
I
we're not taught that. We're not told that, you know, as far
No,
as
we're not.
animals.
We're not. And a lot of this stems back to, you know, going back in the 1960s and the convenience food, and when the kibble came out, and that's just been something that we were raised on, born with. That it was just easy, and we were told that that's what animals were required, and animals and dogs in particular have an amazing ability to eat a lot of different things. They're naturally scavengers, and so they're going to scavenge, but they're going to be eating. They were able to eat some scraps and things like that in years past, and I think that now we're realizing that, wait a minute. I think that animals actually, maybe we've moved too far away from into the processed food world, and the foods are too processed for dogs than we've recognized in the past. And starting to make that connection is like, wait a minute, if processed food isn't good for people, and we should be shopping the perimeter of the grocery store basically, and not really going on the inside too much, shouldn't we be thinking about those same things for our animals? Because aren't we all basically the same kind of living creatures, and our bodies are, yes, they're constructed a little bit differently, but essentially we all work kind of in the same way. And I think that when we started to do more and more research with our animals and how we should eat, and then I sort of had that light bulb moment with ourselves to say, wait a minute, I was like, Matt, why are we feeding Salem this way? Why aren't we eating the same way? Like, why don't we make this change? And that was happening at the same time that a friend of mine introduced us to, or started talking about the paleo diet, and this, which at the time, 6, 7, 8 years ago, I can't remember, it was a long time ago, before any of it was even popularized. We're like, what is this? What is this strange way that you're eating? Why would I want to do it this way? And this sounds ridiculous. But then as I got more and more research into it, I was like, wait a minute, Matt, this is kind of what we're doing with our dog, and it's working with him. Why aren't we looking at this more seriously for ourselves? And so that was the really aha moment that we're like, oh, wait a minute, this makes so much more sense now. And so that sort of began that transition into, for us, eating that paleo diet, and then starting to almost level set what animals need and what people need. We became more equals in the way that we look at it. Matt, I don't know if you have anything to...
Well, Matt, you said something about fresh. You coined the term. You know, at the bottom of the line, at the end of the day, it comes down to fresh food.
Exactly.
You know,
it does. Just like Jeff said. I mean, we walk the perimeter of the grocery stores anymore. Rarely do we go down an aisle unless it's for a condiment or something like that. But no, but everything's shopped around the outside. We go to farmers markets. We get fresh meats. And that needs to be the same for your animal. They're not any different. They're descendants of wolves. Wolves did not get kibble out in the field somewhere. It's a processed food. Kibble is a processed food, and I don't think, like Jeff said, when they started making kibble back in the '60s, it was when
like,
all
what is
processed.
it? Like,
Yeah.
it's just
Yeah, it's an easy, convenient way to feed. It was probably a little bit better than it is now. I mean, they used a lot of horse meat back then and different things like that, but they just kept changing it, and then they would change it for people wanted it cheaper, so then they would put cheaper ingredients in it. So just and it got to a point.
Yeah.
Now it's going the opposite direction again. It's like, well, just like with people's health, they're trying to turn it around and get people more on the healthy, get away from all that processed food. But you still have.
And there's a balance, and there can be a balance with that too, so that the whole conversation about nutrition is, in my viewpoint, it's not an either or. it's adding more fresh foods in and eating
Mm-hmm.
less processed food. And you do that as you're able. The
Right.
more or less processed food you can get into your own diet, the better. The more or less processed food you can get into your pet's diet, the better. So it doesn't mean you have to wholeheartedly change everything that you're doing. And that's what we talk about our customers a lot. It's like, no, it's not like these are not two separate diametrically opposed issues, but it's like, let's layer in a little bit more fresh fruits and vegetables. And these are the
Yeah.
reasons why you might want to do that.
And I think it's directly connected to how we have been trained to look at what
Yeah.
eating healthy means. It's either all or none. It's black or white. It's 0 or 10. Like there's no middleman. There's no gray area. There's no opportunity to transition to healthier foods.
Right.
And so that's the same concept. I'm assuming that the customers are having for the animals because that's how they're taught.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And there are very, very simple ways to do that. So
Right.
to add in, you could add things right to a kibble. So you can add in, if you add in some fresh greens that are, best that you pulverize them so they're broken up, so the cell walls are broken up, and you can have it with bone broth. But you can put a tablespoon of fresh greens onto your dog's food, and you have, I think the studies said, like a 70% less chance of it getting cancer later in your life because of all the phytonutrients in those greens. And that's one thing you could do that is super simple that everybody literally could do that makes a difference in your pet's life. And you just added more fresh foods. You reduced the carbs. You've added more naturally whole occurring vitamins and minerals. And in fact, if there's bone broth included in that, then you've already added all those benefits to the stomach with the bone broth and extra moisture and all of those things. You've done not just one thing, but it's this whole package you've just added of all these nutrients, whole foods that you've added back into the diet, that these whole living foods make a big difference.
Now, just like consumers, everything now is labeled natural, pure, light, green. It's all these marketing terms. So us like humans, we get caught up like a deer in the headlights. Like, oh, this means healthy. Oh, this means healthy, and that's an education gap.
Right.
Right.
So, like,
Exactly.
what do you guys face with your consumers, your clients, when they tell you about a product that just because it says organic on there, it means that everything is superb and healthy for them. They without really knowing.
Yeah. Well, the big thing right now is ancient grains, because grain. There's the grain-free foods out, trying to get away from the grain foods, and then there was the issue with the DCM come up, so they started making more grain food again. Well, the grain foods that are coming out, they're calling them ancient grains now, or other types of fancy words for grains, and they're just grains. Again,
I've heard it through the food products too, ancient grains.
Yeah, so it's the same thing.
Marketing.
It's all marketing. That they're just but we still have to educate the customer. Okay, this is what's in here, and we talk about a lot with the customers the ingredients of what's in a diet. Show them comparisons sometimes if we need to, and why they might want to try this instead of something else. We don't ever force a food onto somebody.
Yeah.
We give them the option. We say, if you want to try this, go ahead. It's guaranteed. We always guarantee all our foods. If it doesn't work for your dog, that's fine. If you want to keep with what you're on, do like what Jeff said. Just maybe add some of this. Add a little bit of goat's milk. Add a little bit of greens to
incorporate some of the more natural.
Yeah. So we don't want to push our foods onto people. We just give suggestions and let them decide what they want to do. Give them information.
Right. And I guess looking at, we don't think that there's, as I said in the very beginning, there's not one perfect food for every animal. So some dogs have a grain intolerance. They don't tolerate grains very well. So maybe being on a grain-free food is best for them. And otherwise, some dogs do very well on a diet with grains in it. So grains aren't per se the issue. Where we talk about, and what we talk about a lot, is inflammation. I talk about inflammation all the time, and what's your carbohydrate load in a food So looking at the starches in the foods, and so the higher the starch, the higher the potential glycemic index, the higher the inflammation, and that's just in the whole body. So it's going to affect your joints, your organs, everything. And it's going to affect your gut health, all of that
Systemic.
comes
Yeah.
down to inflammation. So make the best choice that you can to lower the inflammation. So there may be two grain-free foods. One is going to have a much lower starch carbohydrate index than the other. And consequently, you may have a food with grains in it that actually may have a lower carbohydrate load, a lower starch load than a food that's technically grain-free. So you need to, and that's where we can come out to look at the labels, read the labels, figure out what's going to be best and where your dog is at. And then, okay, from here, what else might you want to layer in on top of that? And then, of course, we also do a whole lot with all of our whole living foods that are frozen complete diets and things that we do too. That's another level.
So I got a question for you, and Maddie, either you or Jeff can answer it. When your body is in constant or chronic inflammation, which means it's not something that happens immediately or to a response, but just something that steadily grows and it becomes systemic and it creates opportunity for other health conditions to prevail. How are consumers supposed to know if their animals are facing any form of inflammation? When it's like, how do they know, like, what signs do they see? Or is it in their bowel movements? Is it in the way if they're more lethargic? Like, well, how do consumers recognize that their animals has an inflammatory response or dealing with inflammation?
Well, the easiest one, I think, is in digestion. You're going to have irritable IBS, irritable bowel syndrome. You're going to have digestive issues. That's going to be one. You may see joint issues, extra achy joints, weight gain. You can see it in a poor coat, skin and coat, excess ear infections, because along with that inflammation and higher starch levels could come, and often does come, yeast issues. So you're going to have yeasty ears. You're going to have yeast between the paws. You're going to have a dry, dull coat. You're going to have greasy coat, or sometimes you've got like an oily coat. You've got a doggy smell to that coat. All of those things are nutrition based issues. So, and then internally, you're just going to see that struggle, because the inflammation can also affect all of your organs, internal organs as well. So you're not going to see it, but it's going to manifest itself in a number of different ways.
Got it. And again, I'm sure there's pet owners that animals may be facing some of these things, and they have just not recognized it directly how it's correlated.
Well, and I think sometimes we just think we take it for granted that your dog's going to smell, that your dog's going to have excess shedding, that your dog just going to have Fido just has a greasy coat. That's just how he's made. And you make some of these assumptions that truly aren't necessarily who your dog is, but it's a factor of maybe the nutrition and what they're eating. It's always a combination of an environment, genetics, and then what they're eating. So it's always going to be a combination of those different things. But in generally speaking, a lot of that can be addressed through good nutrition.
Yeah. Well, again, there's a connection. That's us as humans, and when it comes to our animals, everything is connected to not just your environment, but also what you're putting in your body. And I think the fact that you guys stand for that and you represent that through the way you provide these services to your clients and for your animals, I think that reflects how you guys see nutrition as a big part of people's lives. And you reflect in the way you live. I'm sure we have to come to a close, but I'm sure like you feel so much better when you have started putting in these whole foods, clean foods, raw foods that your body's meant to digest. It's not meant to digest something that's over refined or that's processed or that's additives in it. Just like animals, their body, dogs, like they're descendants of wolves, no one's eating kibbles and bits. They didn't grow up eating processed foods. Their gut is not adapted to processed foods. So bringing them back to nature in regards to just taking all those extra elements out, I'm sure people will see such a big difference in their animals.
Absolutely. Nature has this uncanny ability to be able to give you everything it needs to unlock all the nutrients out of it. And I think sometimes when we build these synthetic vitamins and minerals up, that, yeah, there are vitamins and minerals in there, but they're synthetic. So it's like eating the outside of the orange and not missing the inside of the orange. And you need the inside of the orange to get everything out of the outside of the orange, So
Mm-hmm.
it may look like, and it may say it's vitamin C, but it's much better to get that from an orange, and you'll feel so much more refreshed from that than you ever will getting it from something synthetic. So a lot of our animals too don't do well with synthetic vitamins and minerals, that are made in a lab, that are added in to make sure the food is complete and balanced, but much rather to get that from organ meat and from fruits and vegetables and real meat and a real animal source, that then your animals get exactly what they need, because it's like having a lock and giving them the key to open it. And I think sometimes we give them only part of the picture and we don't give them the whole thing to unlock all those nutritional benefits.
Yeah. Wow. Well, Jeff and Matt, I thank you guys for just creating this time to just educate just some things that people have not thought about. But the good thing is that people are becoming more and more aware of how to treat their animals and what's best for the animals. And now there's more opportunities and more places that are jumping on board to provide not just products, but better products. Do you guys have any events that's coming up? I want to kind of give you a moment to talk about anything you guys have upcoming that people in St. Louis that have pets or love pets, that they can, come in and get some more valuable services.
Well, I mean, right now we're in a weird, extraordinary kind of time where we've suspended everything. All of our events, so we're basically just doing a virtual show.
Okay.
But I am going to do more. We have educational events coming up. I'm trying to book every Thursday that we'll have I do an In the Kitchen series. It's a YouTube series where I basically interview people from our kitchen at home, and we just have a nice casual conversation. So I'm going to start doing some virtual ones, so very similar to this, where we can just talk about health and nutrition products. So making it very interactive. People can ask questions live. It'll be recorded on Facebook and also be automatically recorded on our YouTube, Formighty Paws YouTube channel, and there's some other ones that are already out there. So just opportunities for people to tune in and learn more, because like I said, we're all about education. We like to do fun events in the store too, but right now I don't know what the short-term future looks like.
Yeah. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed that podcast. Formighty Paws is a great organization here in St. Louis. I love what they stand for, and I love what they're doing for not only their community, but for their animals and their pets. As I'm heading out, I want to highlight another podcast partner. Midwest Dairy has a campaign out called Undeniably Dairy. Definitely understand the sustainability of their products and their practices, but also the deliciousness and the nutrient dense of their foods. Do you know, when it comes to high quality protein, that a glass of milk is another way of your getting your non-essential nutrients that your body needs in a given day? People ask the question, is milk good for you? And you want to take a closer look at that and understand that milk is good for you. And actually, getting your milk from your cows, the cow is kind of like the middleman. Cows can glean the nutrients that our body needs from its grain and from the ground, and convert it into nutrients that our body can use and can benefit from. And they're also providing the high quality of protein that our body needs for our muscle development, for our immunity system, especially during these times, and even for our kiddos. Give your kid a glass of whole milk, a glass of chocolate milk. It's all tasty and all still good for you. So take advantage of finding ways to make sure that you're not lacking in your nutrients, and grab a cup of milk or grab some other dairy products that are in line with building your immunity system and your protein intake. Midwest Dairy, Undeniably Dairy. Go to their website at dairygood.org, or follow them on Facebook on Midwest Dairy, or follow them on Instagram at Midwest Dairy. You'll get more ideas and see more of the recipes and ways to connect with them.